What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 31 Days of Horror. I'm your host, Mood616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yes, 31 Days of Horror Volume 8, Day 30, coming at you live and direct. Alright, so today we are going to keep it present in 2024, but we're going to go to South Korea. So this is my pick for my 2024 film, and I knew it was one that I probably was going to like, so I picked it up. I generally don't just blind buy brand new films, but this is one I felt like I probably was going to dig, and I needed something to do for 2024, but yeah, today's film is called Exhuma, of course, from South Korea. This one right here is, of course, starring Chi Min-sik, who, of course, is from I Saw the Devil, Old Boy. So when I saw his name on this, I was like, ah, that was another reason why I was like, you know what, this has got to be a good film, man, because everything that guy's in seems to be pretty freaking awesome. So, yeah, this one right here is released by Wellgo USA, which very well known for releasing a lot of Asian films and stuff. So, and I'm a big fan of the company, so why not take a chance on Exhuma? This one's also streaming on Shudder, I believe, also. But I'd found the 4K for actually cheaper than the actual Blu-ray, which was really bizarre. So, but yeah, getting into the synopsis of this one. Basically, this one follows our main character, played by Kim Go-young. Anyways, she's a shaman. Anyways, she's contacted by this rich, wealthy Korean family, American Korean family, and they basically need her help to figure out what's going on with their family. So they have like this family history going on with every time there's like a firstborn, they either die or get really sick. And you know, this guy that's running this family, his brother like killed himself in like the mental ward and stuff like that. So there's been a long family history of like just kind of like mental illness and sickness and stuff like that. So he calls in this shaman to kind of figure out and assess the situation and see what they can do. And she feels right away that there's definitely something wrong, and she feels like it's probably connected to his grandfather, so his mother's father. Anyways, so she calls up the help of Chao Min-sik, and he is what they know as a what do they call him? A geomancer. I was going to say a geologist, a geomancer. Basically what his job is, he sells plots to like rich people and stuff like that, assesses the grounds and stuff like that. So anyways, they go and find this this unmarked plot where the grandfather is buried. And right away, it's very mysterious because he's actually buried like on a mountain peak in like a very desolate area, like way off in the middle of nowhere and stuff. And they're all just like, what the hell is going on? Why is it unmarked? Why is he buried here? So they're pretty convinced that there's something wrong with this and stuff. Anyways, so what the plan is to exhume the body and basically just cremate the body to rid the demons and stuff like that. So, you know, they go through the motions and stuff. And of course, Chao Min-sik's character, he's like, you know, there's something seriously wrong here. We got to do it right away. And anyways, so they exhume the body. They bring it to the morgue and stuff. And basically what happens is something happens with the coffin and something gets released. So they go ahead and cremate the body to kind of rid the demons and stuff like that. And something worse even opens up from this exhumed gravesite. So that's the general premise of the film. I know that sounds like a lot. So my thoughts on the movie. Now, this is really interesting. So it is just filled. Like the folklore, it's got so much rich mythology within the film. It's just crazy. And it actually has like historical factual stuff in it too. Like, you know, it kind of plays off in the end where, I'll get to that in a minute. But there's a lot going on here, a lot of really interesting dialogue, a lot of really rich mythology within, you know, like of course it starts out with the mystery of what the hell this family is involved, like why is there a curse, like what is going on and stuff like that. So the cool thing is to break up the running time in this film, which runs 135 minutes, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes. They tell the story in chapters. So in the first chapter, you know, we get introduced to our shamans and our main characters and the geomancer and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, it's got this weird tone to it. It's kind of goofy, not goofy, but it's kind of lighthearted, but very seriously toned and stuff. And then once we get introduced to the family, it kind of changes tones. It gets really dark and stuff like that. And it kind of tells the story, like, as things happen, it breaks up into chapters, which really helps the running time. Actually, it's constructed really well. So for a movie that's 2 hours and 15 minutes long, no downtime at all. I mean, that's probably the moment where you're going to say, or probably think I was going to say, yeah, this one ran a bit too long. Absolutely not. I was never bored from the second this thing started, because there was so much mystery involved with every part and how this developed. It kept me intrigued right to the end, man. It was really, really interesting. It's really cool because, like, something happens with our main character, and then it changes the whole story. It gets into this whole mythology of, like, you know, the Japanese occupation that happened way back in the day in Korea and stuff like that. So it plays into, like, historical facts too, but it also creates its own folklore, and the mythology is so thick, and there's so much going on with monks and all this type of stuff. It's actually a really simple story to follow if you're just kind of paying attention to the dialogue and stuff like that. But it's really interesting. I thought it was really damn cool on how they did it. As for the effects in the film, pretty cool. A little bit of CG in the film. Nothing really to, like, worry about. It's not overly bad or anything. The characters are all really interesting, really fun. You know, aesthetically, this movie looks brilliant. Cinematography is awesome. Like, it looks fantastic. Really, really fantastic stuff. But I think the movie just started playing, didn't it? Yep, it is actually playing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go top menu here. Bring that back. Sorry about that. Welgo's menus, they start to play. That really annoys me. I just don't want it to let it play, because every time I do, I get flagged. So, but yeah, so yeah, the way this story constructs itself and to where it goes is so intriguing, man. We're dealing with, like, you know, way back in the day, generals and this iron flag stuff. And I really don't want to give too much away about this, because it goes pretty crazy. Like, to be honest, like, you think the movie could have ended within an hour, but then it just starts up a whole nother story. It really starts up a whole nother story, and it plays into, like, the father's history and, like, you know, the country's history and, like, just everything. It's really, really cool. I was just, like, enthralled in this movie. It's pretty cool. And I got to say, like, the big demon kind of thing that kind of gets resurrected out of this grave looks awesome. It looks like a massive, like, devil demon. It's pretty fucking cool. But of course, like I said, it has historical, factual parts to it and stuff like that. But it's still created through this really thick mythology and the folklore that they use in the film and stuff. But yeah, I 100% wholly recommend this movie. It's awesome. If you're a big fan of Korean films, it's not going to let you down. It's really not going to let you down. And I think the biggest shock for me, though, was the runtime on it. Kind of scared me a little bit. I was like, man, dude, like, I know a lot of Korean films are super long, and I'm thinking, I hope this has enough story to, like, kind of keep it interesting, kind of keep moving along. It was brilliant. It was almost perfectly done. There's a couple little errors in the film. I noticed one where our geomancer's actually talking to basically the aunt of, you know, the guy that runs the family back in America, because it kind of takes place in America. So you get a little bit of, like, English dialect in there too. But for the most part, it's Korean with English subtitles. But there's this part where he's waiting for her to give the okay to, like, you know, to cremate this coffin and stuff. And I'm, like, thinking about it. I'm like, that's really strange. Like, it's nighttime in Korea, but it's nighttime in Los Angeles. I'm like, that doesn't work. The time difference would not do that, but little nitpicks. It's not really a big deal at all. But yeah, I would say probably, like, the last, like, 45-50 minutes of this movie just feels like a long, crazy third act. Like, so many moving parts, so much, like, just so much mystery, and just so much, like, you're just, like, learning by the minute. It's really cool. And the very last shot in the film is awesome. I think what they did with this is really damn cool. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to go into a historical area. Like, I think a lot of the, you know, the historical factual stuff in this is kind of lost on people that aren't fully educated on, you know, the history of Korea and, you know, the Japanese occupations and stuff like that. But they kind of play into the whole fact of, like, how they really do stress in this film, like, the Japanese ghosts don't need a fucking reason to kill. And I know that holds a lot more merit right there. So there's a lot of stuff here. I think if I knew the history, it would probably even play out a little better. But as a movie, as a piece of fiction, you know, it works also. So, but of course, it has nonfiction stuff in there too. But yeah, Exhuma, Really enjoyed this one. It's fantastic. One of my favorite watches of the year. I just can't get over how entertaining this was for like over 2 hours. It absolutely blew my mind. But again, having the characters that are interesting and just awesome, you know, really kind of helps along the narrative that was very, very strong and never had any downtime. Like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, from the opening moment to this film to the end, I was like, wow, that was over 2 hours. That's really crazy. So that's always a good thing. So I highly recommend Exhuma. I'm going to come in at a 9 out of 10 on this one. Definitely one of my favorite watches of the year. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away about this, especially from the second half of the film, because it's super intriguing. And if you know a little bit more about the history, it might even play out better for you too. So, but yeah, that's all I'm going to say about Exhuma. Definitely give it a shot. Don't let the running time scare you off, because I know that does with a lot of people, or even the subtitles, because this is something that's been brought to my attention with a lot of people. It's running times and subtitles, and especially when you have a long running time and subtitles, that's really off-putting to a lot of people. But, you know, definitely one of my favorites of the year. Check it out, Exhuma. And that's going to do it for day 30 here on the 31 Days of Horror, Volume 8. And we're going to be back with day 31 in the final day for this year. And yeah, I will see you guys then. And as usual, deuces!